Hi guys, welcome to Financial Ninja Japan. Today, I'll be sharing the 5 superpowers the rich have mastered in Japan. Here's a little bit about my profile. For those interested, please have a look. Now, this is the channel I wish I could have subscribed to when I first began my investment journey in Japan through NISA, iDeCo, index funds, and ETFs. Living in Japan as a gaijin and not being a native Japanese speaker made things challenging for me because I couldn't find any good English guides on these topics. Financial Ninja Japan was created so I can share what I've learned in my journey, especially practical tips for improving personal finances while living in Japan. So, let's get started with the conclusion right away. Now, what are the 5 superpowers? They are saving, earning, increasing, protecting, and spending. I'll be sharing an overview, and let's start with number 1, the power of saving. Here, it literally means reduce your expenses. This is an act of self-defense, and this power is much easier to start with compared to earning or increasing. Everyone could do it easily. And then we have the power earning, which means to increase or to boost your income. Now, some people might ask, why can't I skip to number 3 without first boosting my income? That's a good question. And here I have an answer. The power of increasing needs a reasonable capital. So you need to build foundations on the power of saving and power of earning first, because there's no point investing with a small amount of money. And invest heavily. Now, what I mean by invest here is we're aiming for long-term gains. We're not looking for speculation or gambling because these are short-term gains. Number 4, power of protecting. Now, after you have mastered the power of saving, earning, and increasing, it's time to protect your money. This is a defense mechanism against scams and frauds. And lastly, power of spending, where you learn how to spend on your calling, charities, meaning, and causes. Let's move on to the explanations. Before we start, let's first define what is rich. The definition of rich, in my opinion, is your passive income exceeds your living expense. That's it. There are 2 types of income. We have active income and passive income. Active income means the amount of active work determines your income. While for passive income, the income does not depend on active work. For active income, employee and self-employed. While for passive income, it's mostly business owner or investor. For employee, it means you have a job. For self-employed, you own a job. For business owner, you own a system and people work for you. For investor, money works for you. It's that simple. In this video, you will learn. The goal is to transition from the active income bracket to passive income bracket, from E to S, then to B and I. This is the goal. You'll have to learn that this won't happen overnight. It is a long-term marathon. There's no shortcut. If yes, they're all get-rich-quick schemes. Now, let's move back to the main explanations here. We'll start with the power of saving, the most important superpower of all. Some people may ask, hey, do I need to be a cheapskate then? Because I need to save everything. No, the key here is first to review big and fixed cost. I repeat, big and fixed cost without compromising your level of happiness and satisfaction of lifestyle. If you're able to identify this, then you can save big. Let's get started with telecommunication costs. Japan used to have a very high telecommunication cost because most people sign contracts, but that has changed. Never ever sign contracts. What you need to do is to choose a cheap SIM plan. Use the family and housemate plans. So the telco cost shouldn't cost more than 1,000 to 3,500 monthly. The second big and fixed cost would be utility cost. You should compare and change your utility companies from the big ones to cheaper plans. That applies to internet, electricity, gas, and water because they are all the same for every company. The third big fixed cost would be insurance. Now, in Japan, most private insurances are unnecessary. This is because Japan has an extremely established health insurance coverage. You would have realized that Japan's health insurance coverage is one of the top in the world, the best healthcare. Whenever you go to any medical institutions, you'll only need to pay 30% of it. There are only 3 types of insurance needed if it is necessary. The first one is term life insurance. And the second one is fire insurance. And the third is car or bicycle insurance. For term life insurance, this is only recommended for those with young children. It is also recommended to avoid investment type insurances because of its high commission fees. These types of insurances, they're normally not the best performing line of funds. What I wanted to share here is that insurance is insurance, saving is saving, investment is investment. So let's keep them separate to maximize their intended effects. I'll be sharing more about insurances and investments as well as savings because these will be the core topics for this channel. All in all, your insurance should not cost more than 5,000 yen monthly. Car. It is not recommended to buy a car in Japan. New vehicle would only retain 45% of its original value. We also have taxes, insurances, running cost, and hugely contributed by the car parking. If you're living in Japan's metropolis, trains or taxis are still a no-brainer. And if you really want to drive and have fun or to go to some suburb areas, you can always use car sharing services such as Times Car, Orix, and iDeCo. My most favorite one is Times Car Share. If it's really a necessity, please just buy a used car, not a new one. Let's move on to the last big and fixed cost, which is tax. In this world, nothing is certain except death and taxes, they say. Now, in Japan, or in most of the countries, the amount of tax depends on your taxable income. And if you have done kakute shinkoku before in Japan, you would realize the taxable income is actually the item number 30. The formula comes from 12 total income minus 29 total deduction or expense. The tax benefits for the self-employed is always greater than the employee, because the timing when the income being taxed is different between self-employed and employee. For employee, your income gets taxed before you could use it as your own expense. So for instance, you have an income of 1 million yen and your tax bracket is at 30%. So let's say your taxable income is 1 million yen. Your tax would be 300k. And what you're left with is 700k to be able to buy an item A, for example. If you are a self-employed, your income only gets taxed after you have spent it as your own expense. Now, using the same example above, we have an income of 1 million yen with the same tax bracket at 30%. Now, you would first use the same amount of money to buy item A, just like an employee. You're able to buy the same item worth 700k. So you actually expend it first. And your taxable income would become 300k only because you have expensed it. Now, with the same tax bracket, you will only get taxed 90k. So, the self-employed gets taxed 90k, while the employee gets taxed 300k, and they both have the same item at the end of the day, which cost them 700k. So it's a very powerful method to save on your big and fixed costs. However, there's always a limit on how much you can reduce here, because you do not want to compromise your level of happiness and satisfaction lifestyle. Which brings us to the next superpower, the power of earning. In this power of earning, it's actually a step up before the power of increasing. There are two types of step up. You step up as an employee, or you step up as a self-employed or a business owner. So that's a transition from employee to self-employed. Because for employee, there's always a limit on one's career progression in a corporate world. Because of its stability, you're only guaranteed minimal returns. So you have to transition from employee to becoming a self-employed or a business owner. It's to step up before the power of increasing comes in. Because when you have the power of increasing, you'll be able to increase your wealth through dividends, real estate, because both generate passive income. Now, the type 1 step up as an employee, it's simple. It's job change. I've done it before, and you should aim for at least 1.2x up in your salary every time you job change. At the same time, you can actually begin a side project while still being an employee, because it is not easy to job change, but it's always easier to start a side gig while being employed. Here in Japan, selling stuffs online on Mercari, Yahoo Auction, eBay. You can also have video editing, web design, programming. or even freelance consulting, blog affiliates, selling online courses, as well as YouTube. It is so much easier to utilize digital tools compared to 5 to 10 years ago. Now, anyone can become an influencer. The key is being able to foresee the current and the future needs and demands. There are two types of side income: the flow income and the stock income. For flow, it means the income is based on the amount of active work. Selling things online, video editing, web design, programming, and consulting, because you're using your own time to exchange for money. It's a one-time work, one-time payment. As for stock, your income does not depend on your active work, because in stock, you actually create an income generating system. YouTube, online courses, and blogs. Because all these three, you just have to do only once. Now, you have done everything. You have unlocked the power of saving. You then have unlocked the power of earning by stepping up. Job changing. You started a side gig. You use digital tools. And you've created stock type of side income. It's time to unlock the third power, superpower, the power of increasing. In order to master power of increasing, you first need to prepare an emergency fund. A 6 to 12 months of living expense is something you should be aiming for. If you have kids, small children, you should aim more. Knowing the market price yield of 5 to 7% per annum, so that you don't get conned when someone's offering you above this range. Invest heavily, as I mentioned before. Investing in stock markets. There are two types of investing: active investing and the passive, or we call index investing. Active investing is not normally recommended for beginners or amateur, only for professionals or seasoned traders, and even so, they're always outperformed by index investing. The reason is because active investing involves active fund, where these funds are managed by professional fund managers. And because they charge high handling and commission fees, as well as it costs, they're being paid salary. As for individual stocks, it is only for seasoned traders and not recommended for beginners. For passive index investing, you have index fund, which includes mutual funds or ETFs, and it is the best investment types because of its low commission or handling fees compared to active funds. Even for passive index investing, never buy those at the counters at the banks, insurance, or securities companies, because normally these institutions charge high handling and commission fees, and because of their labor cost. The key to invest in stock market is through dollar cost averaging. So you can take a look here. Now, some people might be wondering, which index fund should I buy in Japan then? Which ETFs? Which mutual fund? Financial Ninja Japan's portfolio are as below. I actually have the US and the world stock. And for the US portfolio, I have both the mutual funds and ETFs. For mutual funds, I'm having them as my iDeCo, where I'm buying Slim Beikoku Kabu, SP 500. For US ETFs, I'm currently buying two types, the VTI and VYM, Vanguard Total Stock Market, as well as Vanguard High Dividend Yield. As for the world stock, I'm currently only having the mutual funds, which is done through Tsumitate NISA. And this is the mutual fund that I'm buying. I will also be sharing more information about mutual funds, ETFs, iDeCo, as well as Tsumitate NISA, so please stay tuned. Lastly, I would avoid investing in, again, this has been mentioned at the reception counters, and avoid investing in Ponzi schemes. Let's move on to the summary. To summarize today's topic, I would mention the 5 superpowers here again, which are saving, earning, increasing, protecting, and spending. And the definition of rich is when your passive income exceeds your living expense, and you can then enjoy the fire. Some Financial Ninja Japan's thoughts. There is no shortcuts in hard work. You just have to hustle, hustle, and hustle. Motivations are overrated. So self-discipline is the key, because we are not programmed to be motivated every day. That's it. If you enjoy and think this video is beneficial, please share it to your friends living in Japan. You can also hit like or subscribe to it, as well as comment for any questions you have or any topics you would want Financial Ninja Japan to create. Today is the youngest day in your life. Whenever you question yourself on when I should start investing, when I should start saving, when I should start that side gig, when should I change my job, the answer is start now. Thank you guys, and have a nice day.